So I thought I needed to add something to brighten up my hobby desk. And in this video, we're going to be doing just that. You can see behind me, there is a bowl. And in this bowl, we're going to be doing a little macroalgae ecosphere. I got this bowl from Amazon. All the products in this video are actually linked down in the description so you can check them out for yourself. So here is a little glass bowl. It is, I think, only a 20cm bowl. Normally you'd use these as a decorative piece in your home, but in here we're going to be using it as a small aquarium. Now obviously it's far too small to have any fish in there or anything like that. Maybe a couple of snails will be okay, but this is purely just for macroalgae. I've got plenty of big tanks full of macroalgae, but I thought it'd be fun if we could try and condense a system like this down into a couple of litres and see what happens. So in this bowl, we're not going to be using any technology. So there's going to be no heater and there's going to be no filter. In fact, we're not going to have anything other than the macroalgae, some rocks and decorations and sand in here. Lighting wise, I'm using one of these massive reef spec bulbs. This is attached to this simple pendant unit in the plug. Now I've seen a lot of people using these lights for macroalgae bowls and things, and to be fair, I think they work quite well. The problem is they're not massively bright, and I guess maybe that's not too bad on a small system like this, but I wanted something a bit punchier, and that's why I'm using one of these. As an aquarist has been going for a few years now, I've got a lot of stuff laying around. So let's play Aquarist Fish House Supermarket Sweep. Okay, well that was pretty nice. I've got pretty much everything I need to get this little glass bowl going. Now obviously you might not have this stuff lying around. I've got some prematured live rock, I've got some shells, I've got a couple of mussel shells here, and for this I'm going to be using black sand because I like black sand, and you don't always have to use coral sand in a marine tank. I'll go into that in another video, but for this video we're going to be using black sand because I think it will contrast the macroalgae quite nice. Now obviously we'll do macroalgae in a second, so the first thing I'm going to do is rinse this sand out because it's been sitting under that shelf for about 2 years and I don't actually know what's inside of it. So let's give this a rinse and then we'll get on to the rest of it. I'm kind of glad I did that because it was full of rubbish. Now this is the part of the video where other YouTubers would start playing fancy music, whip out their expensive tweezers and do an amazing aquascape in slow-mo for you, or maybe sped up depending on their mood. However, what we're going to do is just put some sand in. So as you can see, I've artfully aquascaped my sand to be higher at the back and lower at the front. This gives you a sense of depth and scale. Now the sand's in, I think what we need to do is a little bit of a tweezer montage where I carefully move the grains of sand around the aquascape so that it creates a precise and fulfilling image. There we go, that is the sand adjusted exactly to precision of how it should be. So basically for this I'm going to be using some prematured live rock. This is not real live rock in the sense that it's not from the ocean. I think this is a piece of a TMC reef rock, can't remember the name of it, but it's been sitting in my systems for a long time. Let's get some better light on it. You can see there it's reasonably mature, we've got a bit of life and stuff on there, so this will really help when you set up something like this because I don't really want to spend months and months waiting for this little bowl to mature. I'd quite like to use mature stuff already. Of course I could have used mature coral sand for my main systems, but I like the black. So what we're going to do is we're just going to arrange it in such a way that I think it looks nice. So actually that does look quite nice, I feel. It's just 2 bits of live rock and some shells that I've got out of my other tanks. There's probably some snails on there already. I think I saw a dove snail on one of these bits of rock. So there's some introduction of livestock already. There's a little bit of macro on there. That's some just red hair algae. These shells at the back here, if you're interested in them, they are freshwater swan mussel shells. You can see I got a bag of them. I guarantee you if you go to a aquatic shop, then they'll be selling swan mussels at this time of year, and they get a lot of die-off. And this time of year, I suppose if you're watching in the future, it's currently March or the end of March. So when you come into pond season, fish shops will be selling swan mussels because they're quite nice in ponds, but you get a lot of die-off. If you go in there, I imagine they will give you some shells for free, and they're quite nice in a little bowl, aren't they? They're quite decorative. So I'm quite pleased with how this has turned out. I was taking the mick a little bit earlier about doing one of these aquascapes, but that's quite pleasant to look at. So the next thing is macroalgae choice. I've got a little bit of Gracilaria mammillaris in here. It's seen better days. I mean, it's got a bit of hair algae and stuff on it, but I think we'll go with it. And on here as well, we've got some red hair algae. I'll have to get this bubble algae off it though, because I don't really want bubble algae in this little tank. I think we'll also use some green Caulerpa racemosa because it's fast growing, and I think it will look quite nice having some green in there, and it will help to keep the tank quite stable. I would be tempted to put some blue octodes in there, but this thing, I just know if it takes off, it will take over the entire bowl. But should we just give it a go anyway, because it's a lovely blue colour, isn't it? Wow, that looks really cool. What I need to do actually really quickly is fill it up before everything dries out and dies. So that's reasonably pleasant to look at, isn't it? You can see how blue the blue octodes is under this light. Absolutely stunning. Of course, it's more blue from the top than the side. We've got a little bit of Caulerpa in there, and we've got our chondria or red hair algae and Gracilaria mammillaris. I'm really excited to see how this does actually. I will be putting some form of lid on this because obviously evaporation is a thing. So I'm just going to be using some of this polycarbonate. I'll just cut a little square out and we'll have it as a lid just to stop some evaporation. Now you might be wondering how it's going to get its oxygen and sort of gaseous exchange and things. Now that is a good question, but ecospheres tend to be sealed, and I'm going to run this as a sort of ecosphere. So I won't be adding any nutrients to it. I won't be adding anything other than topping up with RO water, and we'll just see what happens. If all goes well, I think the macroalgae should do pretty good in here. There is enough life in here already. I've already seen some pods running around which have come off the rock that I've added, and there's at least 2 dove snails. The reason I know that there's 2 in there is because I saw one earlier and the other one is here, and I'm just going to add it now. If you don't know what a dove snail is, it's one of these little beasties. They're excellent for macroalgae. They do reproduce quite well as well, so hopefully they'll go at it in this little bowl and we'll have more than 2 in there. But nevertheless, they will help to keep pest algae down. So in he goes, whee! So that's his new life with his mate in there. This is something you can do easily at home. I mean, obviously getting hold of some of these macroalgae is not so easy, but doing a bowl like this is actually reasonably simple. It doesn't cost a lot, a little bit of sand, tiny bits of live rock, which you can get. You know, you can buy them from eBay or you can go into a local fish shop. It won't cost you a great deal. And they're a really fun thing to have on your desk, aren't they? I mean, this is just my little painting station for my modelling. And I thought, what a great thing to have and look at while I am painting. So I'm going to be doing future updates on this little tank. I did a jar system a while ago and it went okay. I kind of lost interest in it. I didn't follow it up. A lot of people have been asking about it. So this is the continuation of that. Hopefully this will do a lot better. Hopefully as well it won't just go into a mess of hair algae and filth. But we'll see. I'm not going to touch it other than top it up, as I said. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe below. Also, thank you to my channel members. Once again, thanks for watching and happy fish keeping.